Hi, this is Mille from Kreator, and you're watching hardrockhaven.net.
Well, we have Mille Petrozza of Kreator. Thank you so much for talking to us again.
All right, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Here in Cleveland, Ohio, on the Decibel magazine tour. What's it like touring with Obituary? Have you ever toured with them before?
We only played a couple of festivals together. We never did an actual tour with those guys, and I think it's a nice match of bands. It's we have a very I mean, I've known the guys forever, and I always wanted to tour with them, but it just never happened. And now finally it happened, and I think it matches quite well because Obituary plays very extreme music, but very different than Kreator. So it's a nice combination of bands.
And you got Horrendous and Midnight also out with you. Can you talk a little bit about them? Have you been able to catch their sets? Or
Midnight, I heard a little bit. They seem to be very good. And Horrendous, I didn't have the chance to check out yet.
Well, they got nice young and up and coming. Like you said,
absolutely.
A nice mix.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you've got a new record, Gods of Violence. Let's talk a little bit about that. Number one in Germany. I know that doesn't necessarily mean that much to you guys, but
it does. Of course, I would lie to you if I'd say it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's like you got to understand. It's not like any rock charts or anything. It's the official German chart. So it's a big fuck off to all the people that say metal is dead, right?
Well, I guess when I said it doesn't mean anything to you, I mean you weren't looking for that. It came to you.
It came to us, exactly. I mean, looking for it, you'd probably have to compromise. You know, if you do anything to compromising to get into this position, then it's wrong. But if it just comes to you, yeah, it's a great thing.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the lyrical inspiration on the record? What were you inspired by?
Mostly live, really. I mean, there was, of course, certain songs that I try to talk about things that I never talked about. For example, the Hail to the Hordes is the community of metal, and I think there's a lot of corny songs about it, and I wanted to write a song that's not so corny and not so cheesy. So Hail to the Hordes hopefully sums it up how I feel. The metal community is a worldwide community where you communicate on a nice level because you got something in common with people from all different backgrounds and cultures and religious backgrounds whatsoever. And there's of course the controversial title "Satan is Real," where people ask me, "What is this about?" Of course, it's not about Satan being real. It's about me questioning the relevance of religion in 2017. You got to dig a little deeper to understand the lyrics. Of course, you need to read them before you only see the title and go like, "Oh, I can't. This can." You know, we got some criticism because of the title, but I think it's one of the strongest songs on the record.
It makes a good T-shirt too.
Absolutely.
Just out at the merch booth. Was there anything that you wanted to do on this album that you might not have accomplished on Phantom Antichrist?
See, the approach was the same. We just wanted to write the best album possible in 2016. When we record, no, 2000. When did we record it? Summer 2016. Yeah, right. So yeah, we wanted to make sure that this is strong. You know, we wanted to make sure that it gives everybody kick in the face. Really, I mean, this is what Kreator's all about. Going out and play the music we love, mix it up a little bit with some melodies maybe, and tell stories. You know, each song on the album tells a little story, and that to me is something that I think we have achieved with this album.
Do current events ever inspire? I know you mentioned that life does. But
Kind of. I mean, of course. There is always inspiration. For example, World War Now is inspired by current events, terror in Europe. Very obvious and very fitting to my song lyrics. And it's even though I don't want to, I want to, you know, every time I write an album, I'm like, okay, this time I won't touch any politics because I'm sick of it. You know, especially in this day and age, I'm sick of politics.
Yeah.
So. But then again, there comes something up, like for example the Bataclan thing, and we were supposed to play the Bataclan, and we did play the Bataclan on this tour, and so it was one of our favorite places to play in Paris. So it kind of shocked, you know. It's kind of like when you feel like the terror all of a sudden affects your actual life and your people that you know and people that you then it becomes more relevant, and that's why some of that song, especially that song What Now, talks about current events without mentioning the Bataclan or something, you know. So it can also be sung in 5 years and it's still relevant. Same with Enemy of God, for example. That was talking about when we wrote that song, it was talking about the September 11th, 9/11, and it wasn't talking, you know, it didn't mention it in the lyrics. So that to me is like the inspiration comes from those events, but it could be any other horrible event.
Well, given the recent current events, I can only imagine what the next Kreator album's going to sound like.
Yeah.
Things are
see, the thing is, I have to admit, you know, the thing is, I try to stop worrying about these things.
Yeah.
You know, you get to a point in your life where you're like, is this really still what I want to feel? Do I want to be worried about these things, or do I just want to live my life and don't care? You know, I used to not care about politics at all when I was very young, and now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, at this point in my life, and I'm like, I want to be like how I was when I was 14, 15, 16, you know, because that's we should enjoy it.
Ignorance is bliss.
It goes very quick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I've always loved your lyrics. Do you ever get writer's block?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to take care of that? Is there a place that you go to? Or?
No, it's not. The thing is, sometimes, for example, the riff to Satan is real. I have my iPhone, and I always record riffs. And I had this the whole music for the song on my iPhone, but I couldn't find the words. And I have a friend in Berlin, Dagobert. He also did a little piece on my album, and we were talking about this title, Satan is Real. And he said, well, you got to write a song called Satan is Real. I'm like, no. I had to fill this title with meaning, and then I came up with the idea of like how much I'm pissed off about the fact that nowadays people still talk so much about religion and it's still so important, and I'm like, oh, this fits the title. And it, you know, inspiration just hits you when you least expect it. It's never something that you can force. Sometimes, of course, you know, some people sit down with a glass of red wine and be all arty and try to write something. On the next morning you read it and it's like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I collect little sentences, I collect little phrases, I collect when I read something or I see a movie and I like some quotes, I just put them somewhere, you know, maybe on my computer, maybe my iPhone, maybe I even write it down by hand. And as soon as I have some music or some new ideas or some new titles, I try to, you know, get all this together. And then, in the end of the day, when we go into actual production, these lyrics change again, because my producer will ask me, "Oh, what do you want to say?" And I'm like, "I want to say this and that," and he's like, "But I don't get it." And then we rearrange some of the words, and we find better words and better, stronger words. Sometimes I'm repetitive, and I have to find, you know, cinnamon to some words that I've used too much or something. And in the end of the day, what you get is like, it's the I think the emotions that are transported through my lyrics are very basic, very simple, very primal, almost like very natural. But I try to, you know, like make it sound interesting and make it sound heavy, and of course give you a lot of space for your own imagination, so you can interpret anything you want in those lyrics, you know. So that's why I don't like explaining the lyrics too much.
Yeah. Well, mission accomplished. If that's what you're going for, you definitely hit it. I saw the interview recently where you said that Kreator is not the band holding up the proposed Big Four of Teutonic Terror that
Teutonic Thrash.
Teutonic Thrash, yes. Teutonic Terror Attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freudian slip. Does that mean that a Destruction Kreator tour is a possibility? If those are the two,
that would be great. I mean, we've done it in 2001. Yeah, it's always anything's possible. You know, it's always a matter of scheduling things. You know, we're big friends. We're long time friends. You know, we're almost like brothers. All of those 4 bands, and especially me and Schmier were very close. And yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, the Big Teutonic tour would just happen. You know, we would just make it a whole year of touring, but scheduling and not everybody's always available. So maybe only a Kreator Destruction tour for a change.
I'd buy a ticket. Absolutely. Yeah. What do you enjoy the most about touring in the United States?
Meeting people. We get to. This scene is so different than Europe. You know, in Europe you're more isolated from your audience because the venues are a lot bigger and sometimes you don't get to talk to people too much. But here it's more like the metal community is smaller, but it's more of it's more communicative. You know, you go to a certain place that you haven't played before. Some people come and visit you. You talk to the local guys, and you know, the scenery works so different. And also, I like the country. The country is nice. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world because it's so wide. Everything is so huge, you know, and it's like totally different time zones, climatic zones, and very cool, very interesting. Every time I come here, you know, first I'm like, especially now when we were trying to get here, we had a little bit of a problem with getting the working visas because of some delay. All of a sudden, we never got and then ran into problems. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to go. But once you're here, once you get that over with, you know, like all these customs, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's great.
What do you do in your free time on tour to kind of
today
relax?
Today was really interesting. I go to see movies, but here in the US it seems like there's only, if you don't really look for them, it's hard to find independent movie theaters. And in Cleveland they have the International Movie Festival, and I just went there. I wanted to see a no-brain blockbuster, and I got to see a German movie.
How about that?
with a German. The director was there. Very nice movie about one of the first psychoanalysts, female psychoanalysts from Germany. Pretty interesting. So that's what I do. You know, I try to keep up because I'm a movie nerd. I go to yoga. I go to gyms. You know, I try to. I'm never bored. I just do stuff.
Well, what are the odds that an independent German film is?
That was weird.
That's pretty cool.
And it was already sold out, and it was only like tickets. You would get a ticket, and it was on hold or something, and you could just go in some line, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, you're in!" I'm like, and I didn't even have to pay for it. It was amazing, and nobody in the audience would understand the word. They all had to read, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like,
"You were following that. Yeah, that was meant to be. That's great." Question: when is it not time to raise the flag of hate?
Oh. You got me on that one. I think it's this is I don't take this quote. You know, this is just something that I don't take serious. Raising the flag of hate to me is more like it's a metaphor for, you know, you're at a Kreator show, so you have to raise the flag of hate, right? So at some point,
it's a given.
So it's more or less a gimmick. It's I'm not a hateful guy, not at all.
I can tell that. Yeah. But that's a word that's been thrown around a lot recently, and you know, especially in this country. So I didn't know, you know, what's that like as a European perspective, coming here, you know, to tour here? What's your general impression of things
Don't
these
worry,
days?
man. It's not only America that seems to be very divided at this point. You know, the political climate is very strange, and I hope the people come to their senses and find union again, because you know it's nothing new that the politicians are corrupt and something that we should all like not fight against, but at least participate in democracy. And I think at this point it seems harder to, you know, we need to fight for it, and I think sometimes you need certain waves to balance stuff out, you know. So we'll see. I mean, Europe is very divided. Germany is very divided. But like I said, I don't want to talk politics.
I snuck it back in there, so my apologies. What was the first concert you ever attended?
It was Kiss on the Unmasked tour. Iron Maiden opening. I came as a Kiss fan and I left as an Iron Maiden fan. For some reason I sold all my Kiss records at that point. I was like, later on I regret it. I did regret it, but when I heard Iron Maiden, I was like, no, this is new stuff, man. This is way heavier.
Nice.
But that was my first concert.
That's a hell of a first
must
show.
have been 1981 or something, 1980 or something. It's very early.
Favorite food to eat while you're on tour?
On tour it's hard for me finding good food because you know, there's hardly any vegan options. I love curries, I love pasta, I love you know, convenient food, I guess. But it's hard for me to find stuff. I have this app called Happy Cow, and I look for vegan options every day. Or I just eat on the bus, or I just don't eat at all. I mean, it's just like we have a nice kitchen here, and we can prepare our own food, and I really like to sit down and have an actual, you know, like dinner where I'm not distracted, and that's very hard on the tour. You know, it's very hard because you're always like, oh, okay, you gotta go, you gotta come here, and whatever, and favorite food on tour. There's a couple of restaurants that I always go back to when I'm over here. There's this chain restaurant in Los Angeles called Veggie Grill, which is really good. It's fast food, but it's pretty good. And it's not only a small chain, but I'm not into the big, you know, big name chain restaurants. That's not food for me, man. That's like
Your current favorite album?
It's by a band called Seal and Ardor. It's called Devil is Fine.
And I know we just talked about you going to the movies. The last great movie that you saw?
I did quite enjoy. Like I said, I just saw that movie. That was amazing, but I forgot the title. It was the name of the person, but I forgot the title. But last week I saw, or Friday I saw the one with Scarlett Johansson, the new one, Ghost in the Shell. That was not bad. It wasn't the greatest movie I ever saw, but it was okay. You gotta watch these movies in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's same with Kong, Skull Island. I thought that was pretty okay. But those are only okay movies. The last movie that really blew me away was The Witch. Yes. That's a great movie.
That's disturbing.
But, yeah, exactly. And
I felt very uncomfortable watching
exactly. And those kind of movies I'm more into than. But when I'm over here, you know, I try to catch up on blockbusters because that's mostly what's around, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of our business too.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Well, last question here for you. What's next for Kreator for the rest of the year?
Oh, I have so much touring coming up, man. I hope I will be at home for some time. But I think after this tour, I have 6 weeks off. That means I will be having 6 weeks of doing nothing. Zero.
Nice. Sometimes that's the best plan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thank you, man.